Are you ready? Check out the latest from Bizista. It's trending videos. We're here to bring you awesome content.
Then you have seen Ragnarok, the fall of Asgard, the great prophecy.
Hang on. I'll be back around shortly.
Iconic MCU moments fans will never forget. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is one of, if not the most well-known film franchise in cinema history. Along the way, there have been a lot of other iconic MCU moments, even though it took them 23 films to get down to the peak of their story, with a snap from one of arguably the most recognizable villains in modern cinema. In this video, we'll talk about several of these iconic MCU moments that Marvel fans will never forget. I am Iron Man. What better way to start a list than to start from where it all began? Well, technically, the Hulk movie in 2008 was the first of the MCU films to come out, but Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man in 2009 was what set off the world of Marvel on the big screens. In the ending part of the film, Tony Stark gives speech to the press regarding the incident at Stark Industries and whether or not he was involved. Initially, he tries to deny the allegations, but eventually he admits to being Iron Man and leaves us with one of the most iconic scenes in the MCU. Puny God. The Avengers 2012 was a roller coaster. We see our leading superheroes team up together to defend the Earth from the destruction through the hands of Loki and the Chitauri's fleet. This scene shows Loki stopping Hulk and giving the usual egotistic monologue we hear from villains, only to be cut off by the Hulk and smashed on the ground, who would then mock him and call him a puny god. Wakanda forever. This chilling moment will forever be enshrined in the hearts of people, especially now that the late Chadwick Boseman is no longer with us. In this scene, Wakanda Forever's phrase marks itself as the most recognizable MCU phrase and one of the most in the modern cinema. T'Challa's charm as a leader, the music, and all the supporting cast in the background sold this scene. Louis' narrations, Ant-Man. Taking a break from the more serious scenes that we have in this list, Louis' narrations in the Ant-Man are among the funniest and most entertaining scenes we'll see in the MCU, which says a lot because the Marvel films are expected to have a lot of humor. Scott Lang's best friend Louise, portrayed by Michael Pena, plays his role perfectly as he gives a hilarious storytelling sequence. This scene was so good and they made another one for the second movie. Open your mind. This psychedelic cosmic trip that includes Doctor Strange leaving his body, flaunting the great CGI of distorted buildings, weird hands, and strange things in all 3 minutes and 47 seconds in this scene, has now become the standard we expect whenever Stephen Strange appears on the screen. Captain America and the helicopter. If you're an avid Captain America fan, you'll surely never forget this scene. Captain America Civil War is one of the most loved films in the MCU, and this scene is one of the reasons why. In this scene, we see Captain America stop Bucky from escaping by holding a helicopter with his bare hands. That's right, his bare hands. Nothing but brute strength from the Captain. Captain America and Thors Hammer. Another iconic Captain America scene is arguably the most iconic scene in cinema history to date, even outside of the MCU. If you were in the cinema while watching Endgame, then you'll surely have remembered this as the moment where everyone was screaming in the theaters when Cap picked up the hammer before Thanos could finish Thor off. Admit it, you were probably calling too. The snap. Thanos' initial snap in Avengers Infinity War sent home fans reeling in tears and disbelief. Imagine half of the world dying, including most of your beloved superheroes except for a few. This was indeed a devastating and iconic scene. Tony uses the gauntlet. Speaking of heartbreaking, we knew you were waiting for this. The perfect ending to an almost perfect series of films. Tony Stark repeating the phrase that started it all and sacrificing his life for the greater good of the universe, something he wouldn't have done in the earlier films, is the most iconic of all the scenes in all of the Marvel movies. We're glad you love the MCU as much as we do, and we appreciate you watching the entire video. As much as we'd like to keep talking about more iconic scenes in the MCU, which we're sure there are more, this is all for today.